Hey guys, so I am here with another video, and today, as you can tell by the title, I am going to basically explain to you guys how I saved $10,000 in a little over 5 months. So if you guys have been to my channel before, welcome back. Thank you for watching my video. If this is your first time here, welcome to the fam, the squad, and don't forget to like, comment down below. You guys know the deal. Subscribe, of course. And so yeah, basically what happened was that I basically had this goal, and I really needed to save. The first thing you want to do is you want to decide your goal. So whether it's $5,000 or $10,000, you just want to decide a goal and when you want it by. Okay, so the more specific you are, the easier this whole process will be for you, because then you'll know if you're on track as time goes on, and the better description of your goal, the more you really want it and you'll save for it. Okay. So the next thing I did was to basically break down the math. So I actually reached my goal a little bit faster than I was expecting to. And like I mentioned, what I did was that I set that goal. It was supposed to be a 6th to 7th month, and I reached it a little over 5. And during this time, guys, I was so frugal. My friends already know me. I'm pretty much very cheap. Right now, we have a goal and we're gonna hit it, right? So that's what I did to decide that date. And from there, that's when you'll be able to break down the math. So I'll give you guys an example. I did the math. So what you wanna do is, in this goal, I just rounded up just to make the math a lot easier, because doing 5.5 months is a mess. So I just rounded up, did it to 6 months. And so that means if your goal is 10,000, like in my case it was, and I want to do it in 6 months, I had to save $1,600 and $1,667 a month. Okay, so the first thing you do is that you'd want to break that down into 6 months. So that's how I got $1,667. And then you want to figure out how you're going to get that money. So the next thing I did was that I looked at my paycheck. So every 2 weeks, I looked at how much I could actually take from that, how much I had left over after I paid my bills. I do live at home, so it was a little bit easier for me to save, but I do pay my mom rent, and I pay my car note, and I pay part of my car insurance, and cell phone bill, cable, blah, blah, etc. So I looked at, after I paid all those bills for the month, and how much I have left over, so how much I can technically take from my paycheck every 2 weeks after all my bills are paid for the month. That way I can do the math and save it. So what I ended up doing was that, let's say in this scenario, I would have, let's say I'm able to save $500 every pay period. So every 2 weeks I was able to save $500. So I was able to save $1,000 for the month, which brings me to now I need $667 left for the month to save. So what I did at that point is that I figured out how to get the difference. So in my case, you guys don't have to do what I did, of course, but I was creative, and what I decided to do is that I decided to get another job. I actually got a job at a bar, at a club, and I worked there on weekends for tips, obviously. So that's what I did. And that worked really well for me, and I hit my goal, and that's how I did it in a little over 5.5 months. So the last thing I just wanted to you guys is just a few tips and a few different things that has helped me to hit my goal in that period, and how I did it so fast, and pretty much now saving tips that I use regularly. So I still use them now. So I'm gonna just grab my phone and I'm gonna show you guys this app that I used during that period that was really helpful. Okay. It's called Qapital, and it's an app that you connect to your bank accounts, and it basically, you're able to set up rules for yourself. So what you're able to do is, let's say something you buy all the time. Let's say you usually go to Walmart. For me, I always go to Walmart for little things like facial cleansers, snacks, cleaning like supplies, different random things. And so I tend to buy little stuff all the time. Like I'll buy like lip gloss, I'll buy makeup stuff or whatever. And so what I did was that I created a rule in the app. So whenever I go to Walmart and swipe my card, it now rounds up all of my purchases to the next dollar. I also did another rule, like whenever I get gas, to add an extra $5. So whenever I stop for gas, now Qapital will take an extra $5 out of that total that I spent for gas and put it in that separate account. So that way I'm like unconsciously saving when I'm just buying my regular things. Another thing is that you want to be, like I mentioned before, like I am naturally kind of frugal, but you want to be extremely, I don't want to just use the word frugal, but you want to be extremely cheap during this time period when you have like a huge goal that you want to save in such a short amount of time. The next thing is that I did was that I packed lunch. So I made a rule for myself that I wasn't going to eat out unless it was like a friend's birthday or something. Then that was like an exception. But otherwise, I did not eat. I either packed lunch to bring to work or I didn't eat. And then the last thing that I put on the list, just to mention to you guys, another tip, is really just to remind yourself, like, every time you buy something, you're spending the saving that you could have, you know? So I just reminded myself, like, oh, is this really worth me buying it? Like, I started to second guess my purchases a lot more during this period. And one last tip that I actually did too is that I opened a secondary account in a different bank that I did not get a debit card for. So when the bank was gonna give me my debit card, I told them to keep the debit card. I actually linked it directly to my paycheck. So when I got my paycheck every 2 weeks, instead of it automatically going into my main checking account, $50 like went directly into that second savings account. So, and that was an account I couldn't touch because I didn't have a debit card for it. So I couldn't take it out to swipe it somewhere. You know, I couldn't create an excuse to use that money because I just didn't have access to it unless like I walked into the bank during business hours. So that was another thing that was like really helpful. Just kind of create a separate account that you don't have a card or access to, and that will help you save. You know, after maybe like, I would say 2 months or so, I noticed that like when I did take out my debit card, it was like rare. Like I felt the difference of me taking out my debit card and buying something versus like I used to always just swipe. I used to always just go to Target and buy something, Walmart and buy something. You know, I'll always just stop and get a drink or get a coffee in the morning or whatever. Like all these things add up and you'll realize that too. If you guys have any questions, leave them down in the comment box below. If I forgot anything, of course, you know, you guys like help each other out in the comments, just mention that down below. If you guys have any questions or if I need to clarify something or explain it better, of course, feel free to ask me and I'm more than happy to explain that to you guys. Okay, anyway, so thanks for watching this video. And like I said, rate, comment, subscribe to my channel. Welcome to the family if this is your first time here. And yeah, that's it. I love you guys so much. Always remember to follow your dreams and that you are better than you think you are. Bye.